This second is a cop arrested a suspect for his water bug during the chase, but they got tossed. Uh-oh. A link to the video with the discipline below. Go and check them out. So let's do this reaction in 3, 2, 1. Uh-oh.
When Officer Riley Thompson chased a suspect through the back alleys of downtown Portland on a rainy
Downtown Berlin.
Tuesday night, he expected a routine arrest.
Yeah.
What he didn't expect was for the suspect to suddenly
Uh-oh.
stop running, double over in pain, and scream that his water just broke.
Uh-oh. We're going into a level.
Riley stood frozen in the rain, handcuffs in one hand, radio in the other, staring at the man clutching his swollen belly and gasping through contractions. This wasn't in any police training manual. And when the truth came out about who this man really was and why he'd been running, it would become the most talked about arrest in the city's history. It started with a misunderstanding that spiraled out of control.
Oh, yep. That's a big bump.
32-year-old Devin Hayes was walking home from the grocery store when police received a call about a suspicious person matching his description near a jewelry store that had just been robbed. Devin had nothing to do with the robbery. He'd
Yeah.
been buying ingredients for dinner, his mind focused on getting home before his partner, Lucas, finished work. But when two police officers approached him asking questions, Devin panicked. He had secrets. Secrets he'd kept
Secrets.
carefully hidden for 8 months. Secrets that his loose jacket was barely concealing anymore. When the officers asked him to show ID and explain where he'd been, Devin's heart raced. They were looking at him too closely. One officer's eyes drifted to his midsection, to the slight swell that Devin had been desperately hiding to S.O. Devin ran. It was the worst decision Devin could have made. Running made him look guilty. But in that moment, fear overrode logic. Fear of exposure. Fear of questions he couldn't answer. Fear of his carefully constructed life falling apart. Officer Riley Thompson immediately gave chase, radioing for backup. Devin ran through side streets, his grocery bags abandoned on the sidewalk. His body was heavy, awkward. He hadn't run in months. Couldn't run, really, not in his condition. But adrenaline pushed him forward through the rain-slicked streets. Behind him, Riley's footsteps pounded closer. More sirens wailed in the distance. Devin ducked into an alley, gasping for breath. His hands instinctively went to his belly, which had been aching all day. The baby had been unusually active, pushing and rolling in ways that made Devin uncomfortable. Now, as he pressed his back against a cold brick wall, he felt something different. A tightening, a pressure, a sensation that made his blood run cold. Officer Riley turned into the alley, his flashlight cutting through the darkness. He saw Devin cornered, hands raised in surrender. Riley approached cautiously, handcuffs ready. He ordered Devin to turn around, to put his hands behind his back. Devin complied, but as he turned, a sharp pain tore through his abdomen. He gasped, doubling over. Warm liquid suddenly rushed down his legs,
That's when he was a bug. Oh.
soaking his jeans. For a moment, Devin thought he'd lost control of his bladder from fear. Then another contraction hit, so intense he cried out and dropped to his knees. Riley froze. In the beam of his flashlight, he could see the wet pavement around Devin's knees, could see Devin's hands clutching his belly, could see the unmistakable shape under his jacket.
Yeah.
Devin looked up at Riley, rain and tears mixing on his face. He gasped out words that made Riley's training completely useless. His water had just broken. He was in labor. He needed help. Riley stared in complete confusion. The suspect he'd been chasing was male, or appeared to be. Deep voice, facial hair, masculine build. But the words coming out of his mouth didn't make sense unless another contraction hit Devin. He screamed, the sound echoing off the alley walls. Riley's training kicked in. Suspect or not, pregnant or not, this person needed medical help immediately. He radioed for an ambulance, his voice shaking as he tried to explain the situation. More officers arrived as the ambulance pulled into the alley. Devin was now on the ground, contractions coming hard and fast. The paramedics rushed over, immediately assessing the situation. One paramedic, a woman named Sarah, quickly understood what the police officers couldn't process. She'd worked with transgender patients before. She looked at Devin's face, his pregnant belly, and understood immediately. She asked Devin directly if he was transgender. Devin, in too much pain to care about secrets anymore, nodded. The information rippled through the gathered officers. Confused looks. Whispered questions. Riley stood to the side, completely out of his depth. Sarah called for immediate transport to the hospital. Devin's labor was progressing rapidly. There was no time for questions or explanations. As they loaded Devin onto a stretcher, Riley made a decision. He wasn't going to handcuff a person in active labor. Whatever Devin had supposedly done, it could wait. Right now, he was a patient, not a criminal. Devin
Yeah.
was rushed into labor and delivery, still wearing his rain-soaked clothes, surrounded by strangers who now knew his deepest secret. The hospital staff moved efficiently, but Devin heard their whispered conversations, saw their curious glances. A nurse asked for emergency contact information. Devin, gasping through contractions, gave them Lucas's number. His partner, the only person who knew about the pregnancy. Lucas
Yeah.
arrived 20 minutes later, his face pale with shock. He'd thought Devin was at the grocery store. Instead, he found his partner in a hospital gown, in active labor, surrounded by police officers who were treating him like a suspect. Lucas demanded to know what was happening. Why were the police here? Why was Devin being treated like a criminal? Riley explained about the robbery, the chase, the misunderstanding. Lucas's expression shifted from fear to anger. Devin hadn't robbed anyone. He'd been buying groceries. And now he was giving birth in a hospital with cops standing guard outside the room. The hospital had Devin's information from previous prenatal visits under a different name, the female name he'd been assigned at birth but hadn't used in years. They called the emergency contacts from that file his parents. Devin's mother and father arrived an hour later, completely confused. They'd received a call that their daughter Jessica was in labor at the hospital, but they didn't have a daughter named Jessica anymore. They had a son named Devin, and Devin couldn't be
Damn.
pregnant because Devin was male. When they walked into the labor room and saw Devin, their son, with his facial hair and deep voice, lying in a hospital bed, clearly in labor, his pregnant belly visible under the thin hospital gown, his mother actually fainted. Devin's father caught her, his own face white with shock. Devin tried to explain through contractions. He'd been on testosterone for years, but had stopped 8 months ago without telling them. He'd gotten pregnant. He and Lucas had planned to handle it privately, then tell the family after the baby was born. But now everyone knew. The secret was out in the worst possible way. While Devin labored, Riley did some investigating. He reviewed the security footage from the jewelry store robbery. The actual suspect was caught on camera, a man who looked nothing like Devin beyond being roughly the same height. It had been a case of mistaken identity.
Yeah.
Devin had been completely innocent. Riley felt sick. An innocent man had been chased through the streets in the rain while 8 months pregnant. The stress had triggered early labor. This entire nightmare was based on a mistake. Riley went to Devin's hospital room and apologized. He explained that the actual robbery suspect had been caught. Devin was free to go. Well, free to give birth without police presence. But the damage was done. Devin's secret was exposed. His family knew. Hospital staff knew.
Yeah.
Other officers knew. By morning, the story would spread. Devin's labor lasted 12 hours. Lucas held his hand through every contraction while Devin's parents sat in shocked silence in the corner. They didn't know how to process what they were seeing, their son giving birth. The doctors explained that Devin would need a cesarean section. His body, altered by years of testosterone, wasn't equipped for vaginal delivery. In the operating room, surrounded by medical staff who tried to maintain professionalism but couldn't hide their fascination, Devin delivered a healthy baby girl. When they placed her on Devin's chest, he
Oh.
cried, not from pain or
Oh.
embarrassment, but from overwhelming love. She was perfect, tiny and screaming, and absolutely perfect. Lucas kissed Devin's forehead, tears streaming down his face. They were fathers. Despite everything that had gone wrong,
Yeah.
despite all the secrets that had been exposed, they had their daughter. The story leaked immediately. Transgender man gives birth after police chase. Became local news within hours. Devin's name was published. His photo was shared. His privacy was completely destroyed. Some people were supportive, celebrating Devin's journey and condemning the police for the mistaken identity. Others were cruel, filling comment sections with hateful messages about Devin's body, his choices, his right to exist. Devin's parents struggled to understand. They'd accepted Devin's transition years ago, but the pregnancy felt different somehow. They needed
Yeah.
time to process that their son had carried and delivered their grandchild. But when they held their granddaughter for the first time, something shifted. This baby was real. She existed, and she was
Yes.
beautiful. Devin considered suing the police department for the mistaken identity chase that had triggered premature labor. Lucas wanted him to fight, but Devin was exhausted, physically and emotionally. The police department offered a settlement and a public apology. They implemented new training on transgender individuals and promised to review their procedures for suspect identification. Officer Riley personally apologized again. He admitted he'd never been trained for a situation like this and felt terrible about the entire
Exactly.
incident. Devin accepted the apology. Riley had been doing his job based on bad information. And in the end,
Yeah.
Riley had chosen compassion over protocol by not handcuffing Devin during labor. Devin and Lucas moved to a different neighborhood where people didn't recognize them. They legally changed their daughter's last name to make her harder to track online. They deleted all social media and rebuilt their lives in careful privacy. Devin went back on testosterone once he stopped breastfeeding. His body gradually
Yes.
returned to its masculine state. The experience of pregnancy had been profound, but also traumatic. He was glad he'd done
Yeah.
it, but never wanted to go through it again. His relationship with his parents slowly healed. They struggled with the concept at first, but their love for their granddaughter eventually outweighed their confusion. A year later, Devin was approached by LGBTQ organizations asking him to share his story publicly. They wanted him to advocate for transgender reproductive rights and better police training. Devin initially refused. He'd been forced into the spotlight once and had no desire to return. But then he thought about other transgender men who might face similar situations.
Yeah.
What if
True.
better training could prevent another person from being chased while pregnant?
Yeah.
What if his story could help someone feel less alone?
Yeah.
Devin agreed to one interview. He spoke carefully about his experience, emphasizing the need for police training on transgender individuals and the importance of respecting people's privacy and bodily autonomy. The interview went viral. Devin became an accidental advocate, though he still guarded his privacy fiercely. Today, Devin's daughter is 3 years old. She's a happy, energetic toddler who knows she has two dads who love her. She doesn't know yet about the dramatic circumstances of her birth. Devin still lives with PTSD from the chase and forced exposure. Some days are harder
Wow.
than others, but he's built a quiet life with Lucas and their daughter, away from cameras and questions. The arrest that exposed his secret also revealed something else, that people can be more compassionate than Devin expected.
True.
Many strangers offered support instead of judgment.
Yeah.
Many people defended his right to privacy and bodily autonomy. So here's the question. When
Yeah.
someone's private medical information is forcibly exposed, how do we respond? With judgment or compassion? With curiosity or respect? Share your thoughts below. Because everyone
Respect.
deserves
Yeah.
privacy,
Yeah.
dignity, and the right to share their story on their own
True.
terms.
Yeah. Wow. There was a cop arrested a suspect by his water bug during the chase, but that got tossed. The link to the video will be the description below. Go and check them out. So drop a like if you like and comment below if you want to see more reaction like this one. And for subscribe if you're new and click the post so you can be notified when I upload and when I post. And go live in the mud. Bye. Wow.